Monitor and control project work. Now that we have started working on the project in the direct management project work, we need to compare and analyze how the work is being done. As a project manager, you have to inspect, you have to track, you have to be proactive. So in this process, we'll try to understand all of that, monitor and control project work. The objectives for this videos are the following, right? So understand the input tools and technical monitor project work based on the exam content outline. You don't have to memorize everything, but at least you should know what are these tools and techniques doing, what is being delivered, what is the output of a report of a particular process. You need to remember those things. And very importantly, I'll be sharing some keywords for monitor and control project monitor control process group, so that we can answer a few questions on PMP examination. Be able to identify these questions from monitor control process group and take a necessary action and select the right answer. I'll be sharing with those keywords. And then further, I'll be also covering some PMP exam concepts. Look for this pencil icon on my PPTs and other videos also. Wherever is the pencil icon, so make a note of that, and then you should be able to kind of answer good questions on PMP examination, understanding those concepts. Okay, let's get started off. Okay, so in monitoring control project, here project manager should do the following. That's comparing plan versus actuals. Now, these are the following keywords. So actions that he or she needs to analyze the data that he have obtained from the work performance data, which is got from direct and managed project work. Okay, measure that and see does it need some corrective actions or not. Evaluate, so how's this data coming? Is it happy, good, bad, ugly? You'll have to look into that. Inspect, see if the work is happening properly. Are the ground rules being followed? Is the quality being tracked properly? Whatever we had laid on the metrics to capture, are we capturing those metrics? Are we meeting those metrics? You'll have to inspect that. You'll have to also inspect the software or whatever you're building. You have to inspect that. Validate, is it right? Are we delivering what is based on the scope? Right, get a confirmation from customer, show it to customer, do demos. You'll have to do that. Audit, you'll have to audit the project, which you ensure the project is being done in the right way, you're making the right artifacts, everything's happening at the right time. Are we kind of keeping the hygiene on the project? Are the PMIs being updated properly? Forecast, in case there are issues, you have to forecast and see, can we do the project with the amount of money we are left with it, or the amount of time that is left for this amount of scope. So these things you have to do. So all these are keywords, okay? And then take corrective actions, right? So see if something's not working as per plan, take corrective actions, take preventive actions, do defect repairs. So all these are being done in monitoring controlling process group. So these are the keywords. Remember these keywords, make a note of these keywords, be helpful for you for PMP examination. Okay, now let's go ahead and see. So what are the inputs for monitoring control project work? I'm just starting off with the inputs because I want you to understand this, then go in detail about the other tools and techniques on this particular PPT. So let's get started off. So inputs. So the first input is the project management plan. You want to compare what you had planned with the actuals you're getting now after the direct managed project work outputs, right? So you need the project management plan as an input. Then any component of the plan could be scope management plan, schedule, cost, communication, resource, risk, any management plan you can use from there, right? Then project documents. So these also form as an inputs. What were the assumptions log, right? So why is this not working? Was our assumption incorrect, right? So are people working based on assumptions? You want to use that as an input just to ensure that whatever you're comparing is good, right? Is a meeting expectation. Then basis of estimates, like how have you estimated based on this? Are you meeting the estimates? Are you meeting the timelines? Cost forecast, you see the burn down chart, you refer to cost forecast, like, okay, for 2 weeks, we had estimated this much cost. Did you burn more or did you burn less? You need to estimate cost forecast for that. Issue logs, you will have to kind of refer the issue logs and see how are you trying to control those issues and all those things, right? Lessons learned register, you'll have to go and check what are the lessons learned in the past, and then you'll have to take that as an input. Milestone list, did you meet the milestone or did not meet the milestone, right? You're evaluating that. Quality reports, whatever quality metrics you had set, you look in quality reports, what is the KPI, what is the defect densities, right? All those things you'll have to check. And risk register, so all of these become an input. Risk register, risk report. Risk register is like a place where you capture the risk. Risk report gives you the sources of the risk. So okay, all these project documents become an input to monitor and control the project work. Okay, so like too many things for you to kind of go on it. So if you keep doing projects, you'll get an idea about all of these things. If not, please try to remember these things, and then you'll be able to manage projects in a much better way. Then schedule forecast, are we on timeline or not, right? Work performance information. So whatever data we got from work performance from the direct and managed project work, the work performance data becomes an input to the monitoring control project work. When it becomes an input, it becomes work performance information. You're trying to understand something from the data and try to inferring something, and the output could be a work performance report where you want to take some action. Okay, agreements. Okay, are we on the agreements? What have we had? SOW, are we on timeline? So all these things will be the inputs. Environment, enterprise environmental factors, and organizational process are also inputs. So these are the inputs to monitor and control the project work. Now let's try to understand what happens when you start doing this work, right? So what we're trying to do, we're trying to compare the planned performance with the actual performance and the forecasted performance, right? We're trying to see the plan and actual should be the same. That's the thing, right? So whatever we're using here, we are using performance PMNS, Project Management Information System. If you have got a work authorization system, work authorization system is a project management system for authorizing to start work packages or activities. It is used to authorize to start a particular work activities, helps in avoiding overlap of resources, it helps in sequencing tasks. It is a company-wide tool, not just used for projects. Very important for your PMP examination. This concept, understand this concept. You can get some questions based on this concept. So multiple concepts are coming, you can get one of the questions out of those concepts. Okay. Then now, when do you use a change request? Okay, so using a change request is done based on deviations from baseline. Let's say there is a deviation baseline. What was supposed to done, say 6 months is not done, and you're getting delayed. At the end of fifth month, you anticipate 2 more months of work. Now that's changed the baseline. The schedule baseline is changed, or your money is over. So you need a change request. You need your management to support you, right? Or a customer comes and gives you a new request. At that time, also you'll raise a change request. An internal request also you can change request based on, but it should be aligned with the project and the charter. Okay. Or there's some change in policies and procedures. Again, you can use a change request. Again, change in policies, procedures, you can use a change request, right? So these are the reasons why you can use a change request. No need of change request before the charter is approved. Remember this, okay? Even before the charter is approved, you don't need to raise a change request. Okay. When changes don't affect the following, you don't need the change request or a CCB. Example, changes in the data and application software, minor defect repairs, you don't need a change request. Okay. So when we changes don't affect the project management plan, the baselines, company policies, procedures, or the charter, or the contracts, or the SOW, you don't need a change request. You don't need the CCB call to go, okay, or the CAP call, change advisory board, or change configuration, change control board. You don't need those calls, okay. You don't need a change request when it's not impacting any of these things. When changes affect project management plan, okay, baselines, company policies, procedures, charter, contracts, and SOW, at that time you will need a CCP. If it's affecting these things, project management plan, the baseline, company policies, procedures, charter, contract, SOW, you will need a change control board, a change request for that, okay. So now let's say there are some changes to be taken, how to take corrective actions. You see something's not working, you look for deviations from the project management plan, okay. Check against the metrics and threshold. Is there a deviation? Is this deviation actually alarming? You check that, right? Is the deviation within acceptable limits? Then you don't need to take any action. If it's not acceptable, then find the root cause of the variances. That's how you take the corrective actions. Post implementation of corrective action, measure performance again. Okay. So how to take preventive actions? So you have to have a seasoned project manager who kind of uses intuition and gut feeling experience to kind of take preventive actions, need more experience, looking for trends, anticipating issues, adjust the project to prevent same problem again and again, see if needs a resource change. Okay, all these are ways of taking preventive actions on the project. Now training some team members. Okay. Now let's say when do you take corrective actions, preventive actions, and defective actions important for a PMP examination. So corrective actions are taken when there are actual deviations. Okay, review accepted, rejected as a part of the change control, perform integrated change control. Okay, then preventive actions are taken in anticipation of some issues. Defect repairs that are actually not meeting some specifications, then you do defect repairs. So all these changes will be reviewed and accepted as part of perform integrated change control. Tools and techniques to monitor and control project work. And I'll just put that over here before I give the entire ITTOs. So expert judgment is one because you have to see the variances, you have to be intuitive, you also use the experience, right? Expert judgment becomes very handy over here. Data analysis tools like alternative analysis, what are different ways of analyzing the data. Cost benefit analysis, preventive actions, cost of conformance, cost of non-conformance, earned value analysis. You have got like the SPI, CPI, cost variance. That's variance and schedule variance, and then earned value management. Like you use the formulas. Root cause analysis. You do Ishikawa diagram, fishbone diagram. Try to the 5Y diagram or YY diagram. You do the root cause analysis. Trend analysis. You look for trends in the work that's getting done. You look for the S curve. That's the trend analysis. We also use decision making or voting techniques to see do you need to take corrective action or not, and there will be meetings for all these things to be done. So these are the tools and techniques to monitor and control project work. Finally, as I told you, we spoke about the inputs, we spoke about tools and techniques. Now, what are the outputs of this process, right? Monitoring and control project work. Okay, so the outputs are, let me just use a pointer and work performance reports. Okay, now the work is getting done. Yes, it is meeting the expectation. You want to, on the work performance information, which was an input over here, your output is work performance report, right? Now, based on the report, if you have to take some corrective actions, you do raise a change request. Outputs. Updates to the project management plan. If there are some change requests are impacting the project management plan, or baseline, you'll update the project management plan or any component of the project documents, right? And then after the cost forecast will be updated. Issue logs. If there are some issues to be addressed, some defect requests, specifications not meeting, right? You'll update the issue logs and lessons learned register will be updated based on how you're learning from this project. The risk register will be updated if you foresee more risk, you'll update that. And schedule forecast is also updated. So these are the outputs of monitor and control project work. Okay, very, very important for a project manager to track his project, to monitor and control his project, to avoid change controls, to avoid the change request as much as possible, right? To stand as a shield between the change request that the project is going fine. So that's about the project monitoring control project work. In the next video, I will talk to you about perform integrated change control. Thank you for watching the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe and follow for more videos. This is Arham Faraaz. I wish you all the best for your PMBOK examination. Bye bye.